6 o'clock, so I would like to call this meeting to order. You are at the time and place designated and advertised as the public hearing for Warren County's Ordinance Number 2 of 2019, known as the Tax Relief and Redevelopment Act. We will first hear a presentation from Commissioner Eggleston, who is the prime sponsor of this legislation. And then we will be moving on to a period where we can accept comment from municipal officials and the public. In order to do that, even though we know almost every single one of you, we still need for the record you to state your name, the municipality that you live in, and please come up to the podium in order to address so that you'll be picked up by the audio and visual recording, which I should also announce that this is a public meeting of the Board of Commissioners, which means that it is being recorded. Anything said in this meeting is part of public record and will be posted on the county's YouTube channel in the very near future. Anything else you wanted to add?
I would just add that when they come to the podium to also, if you represent an organization, or a municipality, to state that as well. So my presentation is going to be very brief. Obviously, I've shared a great deal of information. Most of the folks here are from municipalities, so you're familiar with the information that I'm going to share. Part of the effort here is to accommodate the two laws that we're referencing as a part of this effort. One is the, Improvement of Deteriorating Real Property or Areas Tax Exemption Act, which deals with residential tax abatement, and then the Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Act, which deals with commercial property tax abatement. Basically, we're here to do two things. One is to outline the boundaries of our redevelopment districts, which is where the LERP programs will take place, or the tax abatement programs will take place. The second is to provide information that justifies these outlines within the county. The first exhibit will be this map, which has been circulated multiple times. There's copies outside for you if you're interested. This shows all of the municipalities that are currently involved in the program. All of these municipalities have agreed to join this program voluntarily. None of them have been forced into it. All of them have done so in order to, because they believe in this process, they believe that this is going to be a good program for them. Of these, 3 have already passed ordinances related to tax abatement, or related to this tax abatement program. It's my understanding that 1 or 2 of them may be doing edits to those and then repassing as a part of this larger process. So today we will be talking about Conowongo Township, Glade Township, Limestone Township, Pleasant Township, Pine Grove Township, Watson Township, Sheffield Township, Elk Township, the City of Warren, Clarendon Borough, Tidiu Borough, and Youngsville Borough. So these are the outlines of the districts. This is the area that the county's tax abatement program will function under once this is passed. It's our intention to vote on this at our next public meeting, which will be, October 9th, which will be next Wednesday. Is that right? It's the second Wednesday. Oh.
So the 23rd.
Okay, so I guess we're giving everybody more time then. That's right. Okay, so we will be doing this the 23rd of October is when we will have our final vote on these boundaries. As far as the information goes, there's a packet that was included outside. This has all the statistics that we have put together through the Planning Commission and the RDA. These statistics are related to census population, income, property vacancy rates. All of these justify the need for intervention by the government in order to redevelop property. So the first statistics that we'll look at are the census data, which I think is the clearest example of the need for redevelopment in the county and specifically in these townships and boroughs. Clarendon Borough has lost 31% of its total population since 1990. Tidiu has lost 13%. The only municipalities that haven't had or the only municipality in this group that hasn't had a significant population loss is Limestone and Cherry Grove are the two, both of which there are other statistics that we're utilizing in order to justify this. Cherry Grove, for instance, despite having an increase in population, it doesn't take many people to have an increase in Cherry Grove's population. But every other place, Conewango Township's had a 20% decrease, Pleasant Township 8%, Sheffield Township 11%. And all of those are significant population declines. In most of these cases, you're talking about 1/10 of the population of the community has left or has vacated the space over the past 20 years. Second sheet is the low to moderate income statistics. This is data that is relevant for the past 5 years. This is the information that we use in order to determine our CDBG allocations. Just for CDBG, you need anything over 51% or 51% or over in order to justify CDBG allocations. That said, all of these municipalities, with the exception of Pleasant Township, have a significant LMI, which justifies the need for redevelopment in their communities. As was previously stated, Cherry Grove's population has increased, but their LMI is 50%. They're almost on the verge of having or being qualified for CDBG funds, which would illustrate that they have a significant income challenge that they have to overcome. And if anybody has any questions about these, feel free to stop me at any time. The next chart is related to housing occupancy rate. This is another significant illustration of the vacancy rates in the properties and the reason for kind of moving forward with this. Clarendon Borough vacancy rate went from 8% to 14% from 2000 to 2010, obviously doubling. Tidiu Borough had significant increase in vacancy. Youngsville Borough had significant increase in vacancy. Although we didn't have the 2010 data for Warren City in this chart, they've had a significant increase in vacancy. Conewango Township has gone up, has had 30 vacant properties increased. Glade Township has had, 20. Pine Grove, 20. Pleasant Township, almost 100. Now, part of that, their vacancy rate has stayed similar because a lot of those properties have been designated as camps, and that's part of the reason that's kind of increased. And I would just state that the increase in camps being a part of the census data is an important factor in doing this, because these are properties that do not technically produce for the local economy the same way a citizen would in that situation. Sheffield has had a significant increase in vacancies from 6% to 8%, and Watson Township's had an increase in vacancies. And then finally is a series of county-wide statistics, and I think that these are more telling of the need for tax abatement and tax relief in the county. When you go down the line, there isn't a statistical category related to poverty or income that we're not seeing challenges in. So overall household income in Warren County has declined since 2008. From 45,920 to 43,896. Per capita income has decreased from 2008 to 2016 from 40,510 to 39,645. Our poverty rate has gone from 11% to 15%. Our poverty rate from children has gone from 19% to 26%. And then the number of students that are receiving free and reduced lunches has gone from 49% to 52%, which is obviously a significant increase. The last part of this packet is a draft of the application that people will be able to fill out once this is finally passed. by the county, the municipalities, and the school district, for your information. And I think that if you study all of these numbers and spend some time going through them repeatedly, you will see that this is well justified as a program to provide tax relief and reinvestment opportunities for people in the community who sorely need it. And that's the end of my presentation.
Very well. At this time, we would accept public comment. If you're able, please come to the podium, state your name, municipality, or organization you represent, and state your question and or comment. Mr. Scully.
You said anything about saving the best for last?
My name's Joe Scully. I'm supervisor in Glade Township. I will tell everybody that's here, I'm 100% for it, and if I can convince you, because you're not here to be part of this, I would like to talk to you because it's the best program that we can offer to our residents. There's many residents that would like to, say, add a room or rooms to their home, and the first thing they say after I pay $20,000 to $40,000 to add on, what is my tax going to be? We can't afford it, honey. You have 5 years to plan your extra tax, which wouldn't be that much. But we have also done the commercial one, and anybody that doesn't think they need a business in their township, you better wake up. We have a lot of young people that are leaving the community because they can't find a job, or they don't want to work at Burger King, or no offense to those people, but the youth want a job with benefits, and they want an opportunity to make the best ways they can. So I'll speak for my other 2 supervisors, which I believe will follow me. We will vote on this at our next meeting, which is the 16th, right there. And we will probably, I do believe we will support it. I personally support it 100%. I will go out and talk to any township that thinks they don't need this. We all need it. We got to increase the livelihood of Warren County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Scully.
I'll go run this one. If that's okay. My name's Tracy Gray. I'm president of the Warren County Board of Realtors. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the tax abatement program. I put together some information based on real estate information that may be relevant to anybody thinking about or having concerns about moving forward with this. LERTA sets localities apart from its competitors. It helps localities fight blight, increase economic development, and helps grow the tax base. The taxpayers are positively impacted. It will assist in removing one barrier to the cost associated with new construction and could motivate homeowners to make needed improvements that they may have been putting off. New revenue is raised as opposed to increasing taxes. Further, small and large businesses are treated fairly and equally. Increased development in Warren County may allow the county to limit potential future tax increases. This is not a net loss revenue for taxpayers of Warren County. There is no additional burden put on the taxpayers for this program. Rather, it is guaranteed increase in tax revenue at the end of the LERTA period, in most cases 5 years. Example, a vacant undeveloped lot is currently taxed $286 per year in tax year 2019. A similar property, but with a recently built 2,200 square foot home, now pays $4,545 per year in taxes. However, new construction in this area is extremely limited. One of the biggest contributing factors in terms of people deciding whether to build or buy existing construction is how much are my taxes going to be. As a side note, that $4,545 per year in taxes equates to an extra $379 per month on your mortgage payment. This, along with the cost of new construction, definitely is a barrier to some people in considering new construction. There are approximately 76 vacant lots for sale in our local multiple listing system at this time. Some of these lots have been for sale for as long as 8 years. Imagine if 11% of these lots were purchased and developed as a result of the LRTA tax abatement program. That would guarantee in 5 years from completion that the county and municipalities would have additional tax revenue of approximately $30,000 to $36,000 per year. Additionally, many properties in this area are in need of improvements. However, improvements have the potential to prompt a reassessment and higher property taxes in addition to the cost of those improvements. A current homeowner would continue to pay the same property taxes for that 5-year period of time, no loss or burden to the taxpayers, but would see the tax increase after that period of time, thus resulting in guaranteed additional tax revenue. It also serves to improve neighborhoods and property values of the properties nearby. This is just a residential example. The LRTA tax abatement program has the potential to spur commercial development as well, thus guaranteeing additional future tax revenue and jobs for our community. I will take an aside from what I prepared and just say that I do believe it's unfortunate that Conewango Township did not go with the straight 5-year 100% tax abatement across the board. Many of these vacant parcels are located in Conewango Township. Starbrook area, the Warren Commons area, North Warren area, those are all prime areas for commercial development, and unfortunately that would be probably a decision maker for those commercial development opportunities. So that's all I have.
Very good, thank you very much. You want to come back up?
No, can I stay from here or I'll come up?
Well,
Just
the point of bringing people up is
Okay.
so that they can be recorded.
All right. I got one more thing I'd like to bring up. We don't have in Warren County a lot of young couples maybe buying their first home. All of us that have done that in our youth have realized, dear, we can't afford that $200,000 home. But we may buy one for $75,000 to $95,000 or $100,000. And then we can rework the interior and the exterior of the home. For a young couple to be starting, very few in Warren County that I can think of are going to build an elaborate home in the most elaborate area of the county, whatever township it's in. But the young couples that are just starting off are looking to get a fairly cheap home, under $100,000 or a little bit over, and then do their own repair work. That's why we have these empty homes that could be not blighted later on, but be sold and repaired to fit the young couple's things. We've got to favor the youth in Warren County. And that's the only one way I know of can do it. I'm looking forward, hopefully, the ones that we have in our township, somebody will buy. Commercial or residential, but we're majority residential. We have to get the youth to stay. And the only way you're going to stay is give them a break. And if you look at some big commercials, companies that have moved out of counties, they get a 5-year tax break. You're going to say, well, we'll give you water, electricity, and a deal on the property you're going to buy. Nobody's going to move here commercially unless they get a tax break on what they're going to do when they do get to Warren County. So that in itself is an incentive for people like, we'll say the machine shop business up in Jamestown or down in the Meadville area that maybe would like to come to Warren. They're looking and they're not going to come unless they get a tax break. And that's giving them 5 years to remodel the building that they bought. So that's one way to get industry here, plus keep the youth here so they can fit. My first home was a fix-up. I learned a lot of things on my own. But that's the only thing we could afford at the time. So we have to get this throughout the whole county. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm Phil Gilbert with the City of Warren, and I'm here as City Council member, County RDA member, and also Director of the Tax Collector Bureau. City County RDA Board, Mr. Scully can attest to this, we see a lot of properties come through with this new program to possibly save some of those properties, market those properties, and get them back on the tax rolls. And as I was sitting here, I was thinking as tax director, I didn't even think about this, but we could use it as a tool to sell more properties in tax sale. I want to sell a home, that's not put the taxes, but we could use it as a tool to get those properties sold and, back on the tax rolls and go from there, so, okay.
Very good, thank you, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Decker.
Jim Decker, President of the Warren County Chamber of Business and Industry. Tracy did a beautiful job of summarizing the benefits and what we would expect to see happen upon the installation of this new program. So we're here to just voice our support for the commissioners and all the townships in the county to follow in suit. I appreciate the leadership shown in bringing it to this point and look forward to getting it to the end of the line. But great program. I'm sure we can make hay with it. I appreciate you bringing it to the table for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
I might as well talk.
There you go.
Arden Knapp, Pleasant Township Supervisor. And we've talked extensively with our township, and we're 100% with this. In fact, we might even consider going a little further, but we are 100% with this little program. That, as our architect that's a supervisor says, it's a no-brainer. Fix them up. We got one house that sold for taxes. Guy paid $5,000 for it. We thought it was blighted property. We thought it was going to come down. Right now, it's all new windows, all new doors, new siding, new roof, brand new garage. Now they're going to start on the inside. Lord only knows what that property's going to be worth when it's done. So it's, it can work, and we need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
One quick question. Excuse me. If you want to see a blighted property that somebody bought and remodeled it, similar to what this Mr. Knapp just told you, I'll challenge you to ride up Conowongo Avenue to 2020 Conowongo Avenue. And if you could see the picture of the house prior to the individuals that bought it and redone it, you would say they built a new home. They did everything from the roof to the foundation to the inside, and it's going to be rented, or if it isn't rented already. But it was an eyesore for us in Glade Township, and when this couple, or under their company name, bought that and fixed it up, I challenge you to go up and look at it because you'll be shocked. I know we were when we looked at it one day. But that is a proof that if somebody buys it and has an intent to improve it, there's a perfect example. The one that Bucky mentioned in Pleasant is another one. Take a ride by. There are people out there that want to work on homes, like I said in my statement when I was at the pulpit. They want to buy homes fairly cheap and fix them up when they can afford it. That's it.
Anyone else?
I just had a couple of really brief comments, just in relation to some of the things that were said. So first is to thank Tracy for that really wonderful presentation, very impressive, as always. I know that there's concern, folks have talked about like this county-wide, concept, and I think that's great, and that's what we're shooting for eventually. But I just want to convey to everybody that even with the 12 municipalities that we have on board with this is going to be the most comprehensive tax abatement program of any county in the state of Pennsylvania, as far as I'm concerned. Most of the places that do this are urban locations with a lot more population than we have. For instance, Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. As far as like rural counties, communities outside of those that have any type of incentive like this, I'm not aware of any other than individual municipalities. So this is going to be a really big carrot that we're going to be able to set on the table for developers, for businesses, for residents, you know, if passed. And I would say that at this point, basically what's going to happen is we're going to close the public hearing. And then all the various municipalities are going to vote on their draft ordinances. We're going to vote on ours towards the end of the month. Really between now and then is going to be the opportunity to advocate the school board to pass this as well. And I say that because all of the ordinances are written so that none of them take effect unless the school district passes a similar ordinance for each municipality. From my understanding, from everything I've seen, the school board is on board with this. They're ready to move forward with it. I feel pretty confident about that, but again, in the same way that we have a number of people coming here today advocating for this, you know, sharing the positive message, that message needs to be carried to the school board so that we make sure that they join us in this effort to try to offer these incentives for development within the community.
Hey, Jim, have you gotten any more feedback from either Corey or just?
Eric, could you come to the podium so we can, I know you have a big voice, but still want to get it recorded.
It's Eric. I'm a realtor and an appraiser. And I wondered about the other school districts that are in the Warren County. Corey and Titusville, have you had any more feedback from them at all?
We're continuing to communicate with them in the same way that we requested folks in the community to send letters to the school district, which is how we ended up getting a meeting and then communicating with them. I think it would be the same situation with Corey and Titusville. They're interested, but I think that right now a bulk of their municipalities aren't really moving in a direction. So as much advocacy as we can do with them, the better the chance we have of getting them on board with that.
Because I know in Erie County they've been pushing more and more for Florida programs. And then also the Corey area school district, they had just approved joining the land bank, which that was one of the questions brought to the board by some of the board members, was the fact land bank is only beneficial in Erie County, yet the tax revenue that's lost by the properties that go into the land bank will be made up by property owners in 3 counties. So I think as far as Corey, they should be receptive to this because it will be, although it only benefits the Warren County ones, I think you're going to see the same program eventually build up in Erie County. And then the other question I was going to ask about, as far as the counties, when it says municipalities that have not expressed an interest, have any of them like been opposed to it, or they just haven't come forward? Because when I went to Columbus Township and I asked them about it, they said, no, we haven't heard much about it.
The only one that's that has outright sent a letter stating that they wouldn't be a part of the program was Deerfield Township. They didn't give any kind of explanation for it. Well, the explanation that I've heard secondhand was just that they didn't feel like they needed it. And I've gone to, Columbus is on my list of townships to go visit personally.
Yeah.
I've hit every single other one except for Eldred. I was scheduled for them, but I got double booked. For the western half of the county, I think that for many of them, they just feel like there's no point to it. Like to them, there's no development now. Like what's this really legitimately going to do? I had the same conversation in Lionstone and Watson to some degree. They really couldn't see, they kind of feel like a lot of their properties are camps, you know, who's really going to do it? And the response that I try to give to everybody is we're in a zero growth state.
Right.
Like we need to do something to spark it wherever it is. And when you're talking about Erie, for instance, I tell everybody this all the time when I meet with them one-on-one is, Erie just passed a 10-year, 100% tax abatement program. Now, if you're a business owner and you're like, should I build a business in Erie County where I have 300,000 people that I can sell to, or am I going to build in Warren County, you know, that has 40,000 people, and then have my taxes go up as soon as I build whatever it is I'm going to do? you know, we gotta compete, you know, and so all of these areas have had businesses or have businesses currently that need help, like, you know, and this is something that will allow them, you know, somebody at some point is gonna have to redo or rework or do something with the torpedo wire factory. Who's gonna do that without a tax abatement or some kind of incentive on the table?
Yeah.
So I think the goal is gonna be, if we get all of these townships and boroughs on board, get them signed, get the school district signed, I think it's only a matter of time before everybody else is gonna say, you know, if everybody else is doing it, we should really get on board with it.
In the municipalities that have municipal services like sewer and water, it's an incentive to get more customers onto those lines, because in communities where they've gone through and torn down lots of blighted properties, where they just go to Youngstown, PA, or Youngstown, Ohio, and places like that, what they found out is they then lost a lot of their revenue for their water and sewer. They've got all these lines that run through vacant lots now, and there's nobody.
Yeah.
It's real tough to resell an urban vacant lot. So if it creates more revenue for the municipal services, there's a benefit there, even in the short term that they don't receive the taxes. And then municipalities that don't feel they'll have any industrial growth or commercial growth, even if somebody comes in and sets a double wide on a 1 acre lot and puts up a garage, their tax bill is going to be around $3,000, $250 a month. There's an incentive, especially when you get these people that retire out of Pittsburgh or Cleveland and look at building camps. Whenever you go there and do an appraisal, they all whine, or they all comment on how high the taxes are, and we don't get anything. Well, they came out and built a back dirt road. Of course you're not going to, you know, there's no water, no sewer, and then they complain the ambulance doesn't show up fast enough. Well, you pick to come live out there. You're going to pay taxes because what else we got to tax? So, but, all right, that was all I had.
That's actually a great point about the public services. That Northridge Estates development, for example, is public water, public sewer, and the majority of those vacant lots sit in there unused.
Yeah, and then you look, you know, these areas where,
And that's Conowingo Township.
you know, sewer bill is $65 a month. If you get 10 more units on there, it's $650 more, and it doesn't really cost that much more to supply the sewer service. The treatment costs are minimal.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think one of the other hopes with this, this is why we pushed everybody for 5 years as opposed to like 3 or 2, is that I think there's a real possibility of working with developers where they build the houses and sell the abatement, because the way the application works is it isn't until someone's in there that the abatement starts. So you could hypothetically have a house, sell it, and have, you know, $250, $600 tax bill, you know, instead of a $3,000 tax bill.
even on the rental properties, if you rehab a rental property, your taxes on a single family are $1,800. That's $150 a month. On a lot of rental properties, your net revenue is about equal to what you're paying in taxes. So that doubles your net income. So it would be not only encourage the people to do it, but it also makes it easier when you go to get your financing if you can say, hey, look, for the first 5 years I have no taxes, you know, so there's a greater amount of revenue that can go to cover the debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you do. Other comments?
Only one other thing I want to add. She mentioned about what Conowingo doesn't want to go for 5-year.
Correct.
I mean, wouldn't it be best if it was like uniform across the county? So, you know, they're going to be.
I think that Conowingo has a reasonable concern in the sense that they've had several appeals that have affected them negatively, and so to them, they're very concerned about that. You know, they do have a police force, municipal police force, and a lot of other amenities that they deal with the large commercial properties that they have. And so I think that was part of their reasoning. Would I still recommend them to do the 5 years? Absolutely, because the rest of the, like, even if you just look at the farm colony properties and all the space around Walmart and everything else, all of that's ready for development. And we have developers that have come to the county looking to develop there, and what better way to get them to get there and get invested than to say for 5 years, because you build a $10 million house or $10 million commercial property on there, the taxes you would save over 5 years, and that construction would be massive, you know, and it's a huge incentive for them to build here. So I hope that they'll reconsider sometime down the road. I mean, I would say that for the folks in Conowanga that are interested, that they, you know, they talk to their supervisors and
Yeah,
stuff.
and if
But
you only go, like, what is it, 2 years? 2 years, it's not enough incentive to even get rolling on.
Yeah.
And the loss of revenue to them, I understand it's short, in the short run, they're gonna lose the revenue, but then after 5 years, they're gonna get it, and this would have really no bearing on the properties that get appealed.
Yep.
You know.
Right. Yeah, let's say, for example, a commercial development was looking at coming to Warren County, and Pine Grove Township on the Route 62 corridor has vacant parcels available up that way. They're gonna pick Pine Grove Township over Conowanga Township because they're gonna get the 5-year tax abatement over two.
That's right.
Yeah, because any developer that does build to suit, that first 5 years is pure income to them, which that creates a greater incentive.
Yeah, so what I would recommend is that the Realtors Organization and others in the community talk to the supervisors there, you know, about their preference, and then hopefully that'll sway their position on it.
Other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
It never
Adjourn.
fails.
6:40.
Thank you very much, everyone.